Happened just beyond this crime scene tape down at that West Baltimore corner. Investigators, they're now trying to track down the gunman.
We are yet here again with another mass casualty incident in our city.
Commissioner Michael Harrison says a gunman opened fire in the Upton neighborhood just after 6:30 p.m. A ShotSpotter alert led officers to Pennsylvania Avenue and Lawrence Street. Police found 5 victims. 2 men shot while standing outside. 1 in the arm, now in stable condition. The other shot and killed. A woman with 2 children in her vehicle, possibly caught in the crossfire. Police say the woman was shot. She crashed her car into a pole and is now in critical condition. A 6-year-old has critical injuries likely from the crash. A 2-year-old suffering from a gunshot wound in critical but stable condition.
Right now we have a 2-year-old who's fighting for their life because they were shot in the face. That is just absolutely insane. It is incredibly heartbreaking.
At this point, police do not know the intended target or how many shooters there were. What they do know is they need information from the community.
For joining us here on KCAL News at 6 on CBS Los Angeles.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Ross Palumbo. We're streaming live right now on CBS News Los Angeles. It happened around 2:30 this morning, and tonight we still know very little about that suspect.
The shooting happened on Ellison Drive right near Oak Pass Road. KCAL's Candace Crone live with the very latest now, Candace.
Well, so far, authorities don't have a description of the suspect or suspects. They do, though, believe that a gun battle occurred between 2 groups and that there is likely more than one shooter out there. We do want to get you to some video from above to give you a closer look at the scene. Neighbors reported hearing shots around 2:30 this morning and called police. Officers responded to the 2700 block of Ellison Drive and learned that 7 people had been shot. Now, 3 were found dead inside of a car parked in front of the house. The other 4 victims were taken to nearby hospitals. 2 went by ambulance and the others by private vehicle. Now, authorities say the residence is a short-term rental and that there was a gathering of some sort at the time of the shooting. Investigators say they believe a shootout involving more than one gunman happened, and now they're trying to figure out why.
The evidence at scene, there's casings from guns, so we can confirm that this was a gun battle, or the victims were shot.
I drove up the hill and I saw all the cops and I literally was like, are they filming something? Because I didn't think. And then I saw news and a coroner and police cars all down this entire street. And I knew something bad had happened.
Now, investigators have been canvassing this neighborhood, looking for security videos, hoping that it captured the moments leading up to the shooting, and will give them additional information as far as who was involved. Again, 3 people dead, 4 injured. Of those 4, 2 in critical condition tonight. The other 2 are stable.
This is absolutely horrific. Our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to those killed and injured in this heinous act of violence. We condemn this apparent terrorist attack in the strongest terms. Our commitment to Israel's security remains ironclad, and we are in direct touch with our Israeli partners, and our thoughts are with the Israeli people.
The family of Alana Sims tells us she's a mother and she was killed in front of her child in Tampa. Well, tonight, police are looking for the 22-year-old's killer. The whole thing happened last night near the Easton Park neighborhood in New Tampa. Fox 13's Janae Lewis is live in our newsroom tonight. Janae, I know you actually spoke to the victim's mother earlier this evening. The baby boy wasn't hurt, but now he's going to have to grow up without his mom.
Yeah, Allie, and not just that, little boy that's about to turn 2 years old, but her mother told me that her daughter, Elena, was pregnant at the time of her death. They are in absolute disbelief right now, and they're certainly hoping answers come soon.
Very caring, very loving, willing to do anything for others. always up to do any obstacle that was challenging, very outgoing. She's going to be missed dearly.
In her own words, the mother of Elena Sims described her daughter to me. She says the 22-year-old was the woman found lying dead last night in the Easton Park neighborhood with what police described as upper body trauma. They say she was just feet away from her young son, who was sleeping in a car seat.
She loved her son a lot. He was her everything. So the memories I would have is the joyful moments that she
Found in an abandoned apartment tonight are believed to be that of 3 missing rappers.
Armani Kelly, Dante Wicker, and Montoya Givens were last seen nearly 2 weeks ago. Tonight, a number of police agencies are zeroing in on a building on McNichols and Log Cabin, not far from Woodward and Palmer Park. Jacqueline Francis has been on the scene all night, joins us now live with the latest. Jacqueline.
Devin and Kimberly, police have been here for hours scouring the area after discovering 3 bodies in the basement of an abandoned apartment building. Police sources telling us tonight they believe they are those of those 3 missing rappers last seen 11 days ago.
All I want is someone to tell me where he's at so we can go home and I can lay him to rest.
This was Lori Kemp earlier today, hours before police made an alarming discovery. Kemp's son, Armani Kelly, has been missing for close to 2 weeks.
Deep in my gut and in my soul and in my heart, he's gone.
Her mother's intuition may now be a reality. 3 bodies were discovered in the basement of an apartment building on McNichols west of Woodward. Police sources tell Local 4 they believe they are the bodies of Kelly and his 2 friends, rap artists Dante Wicker and Montoya Givens. All 3 have been missing since January 21st. Kelly was supposed to perform at a Detroit club that night, but the performance was canceled. He, along with the 2 others, haven't been seen or heard from since. Kelly's mom says police alerted her to the discovery of the 3 bodies, but have not confirmed the identities at this time. Around 9
on one of us is an attack on all of us.
Filled to capacity with over 1,000 people inside the temple near Tamid, and an additional 200 stood outside in the cold Thursday evening. People from Bloomfield and nearby towns, community leaders and congregants, not just of the Jewish faith, but of all religions and all ethnicities, gathering to show support and solidarity for one another. The mood described to us by those in attendance as powerful and beautiful.
To see so many people from so many different religions.
It takes place just days after surveillance video caught a masked man approaching the temple, lighting the fuse on a Molotov cocktail and hurling it at the house of worship.
Like the world's on fire.
News on this Saturday evening. This is tied to a story we first broke for you this morning, the fatal shooting outside of a popular nightclub in West Midtown. 11 Alive has been working all day, now into the evening, to get you the very latest information. And within the last hour, 11 Alive has confirmed the person killed was Michael Gideon, a co-owner of the nightclub. The Republic Lounge is a busy place on a Friday night, but for those who work at the club, this was a tragedy that they never expected to occur. 11 Alive's Karis Belger spoke with an eyewitness about the shocking sequence of events.
This was the scene outside of Republic Lounge on Brady Avenue early Saturday. Police combing the scene and looking for evidence after a shooting took place outside. Ken Lucas's mother, Moniece, says she was on the way to pick him up from working security when it happened.
He called me and he told me that, somebody had a fight in the club and had a guy in the parking lot with a gun. He asked me to go around the street to the QT to wait on him, and he would call me and tell me when to come back.
When she did, police still had most of the street blocked off.
I just know it wasn't that many people. I just think it was just like a small get-together.
Ken Lucas says he was inside when a drunk customer was removed from the premises. He says another person told him. The person later came back with a gun.
It was time to go. I just heard gunshots. At that point, I had already just called my mom and told her just go. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to go back outside. I don't have a gun. I'm not trying to die,
Police responded just before
hearing the chilling 911 call a neighbor made the night a family was executed by 2 gunmen in Central California last month.
Oh, they're still shooting. They're still shooting? Yes. Hurry, please. They're coming back. They're coming back.
Today, police arrested the two alleged shooters. They also released heartbreaking video of the teen mother desperately trying to escape with her 10-month-old son. She tried to shield her child, but both were shot in the head. Police say this was not random. They say the massacre was a result of a dispute between rival gangs. Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
News from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And that breaking news is happening right now in Brooklyn. There is a huge scene in East New York where an off-duty officer was shot earlier this evening.
That officer was rushed to Brookdale Hospital, where he is now in critical condition. We have crews at the hospital and at that scene on Ruby Street near Linden Boulevard. Authorities gave an update just moments ago. We're going now to reporter Morgan Norwood. She is in East New York tonight. Morgan, what can you tell us?
Yeah, that press conference wrapping up, guys, just before we came on the air. As you mentioned, that officer at Brookdale Hospital in critical condition. The mayor and police chief, again, police commissioner rather, speaking just moments ago, saying that all of this happened apparently after a robbery, an attempted robbery. The officer trying to purchase a car in this general area, and then that's when those shots rang out. I want to step out and show you a little bit about this massive crime scene here. It's really extensive. It circles the entire block from McDonald's here on the left side of the corner, and then wrapping several residential buildings inside. Guys, I've counted dozens of police cars, including an armored vehicle. I've also seen an FBI task force members here, ATF on the scene, several emergency service vans. This area just swarming with police. As I mentioned just a second ago, police giving a press conference. The mayor also on hand for that outside of Brookdale Hospital. Here's what they had to say.
PD officer who was shot and is in critical condition. The officer is a 5-year veteran of the NYPD assigned.
He has been hit with 2 different tragedies in a matter of months. This morning, police found a mother and her 2 sons dead inside their Avondale home. And now police are investigating this as a double homicide-suicide. Tragedy unfolding this morning.
We were literally with him last night. Like, I said bye to him before I left out and went home, told him good night. Like, it doesn't seem real yet.
Police were called to this home on Canyon Drive for a suspicious report. That's when they discovered 2 brothers.
That was my second mom. Like, it was my second family. We spent Christmas together. We had matching outfits. We took family pictures together. Like, this was really like a second family.
19-year-old Eric Johnson Jr., known as E. 16-year-old Rodrigo Johnson, who friends called Rod, and their mother, 38-year-old Darlene Flores, who everyone knew as Darla.
He called us, said he loved us, said he misses us. That was the last thing we heard from him.
Timione Adrew and Beeler Walker woke up to a message from their friend E that raised alarms.
He loved her more than anything. Like, losing her it destroyed my boy deep down, and I know he was hurting.
Last August, this family suffered their first tragedy after 6-year-old Isla Johnson was killed by her father in a murder-suicide following a custody dispute in Mount Healthy, something these friends say may have played a role.
You know somebody's hurting, after a while people start to forget, but that pain is still with those people, so make sure you share your love, check on the ones that you love.
Now family and friends are grieving again for the loss of a mother and 2 loving brothers. Look at the man Michigan State Police say murdered a Marine veteran on the Southfield Freeway, just leaving him there. A grisly find that shut down the highway for hours early on January 23rd. 22-year-old Raekwon Deshaun Patrick charged Tuesday with first-degree murder and remanded to jail. MSP revealed the 22-year-old victim, identified by family as John Williams, was shot in the vehicle along the freeway, then pushed out onto the ramp. This happened on the Southfield Freeway northbound ramp onto I-96 on Detroit's west side. Investigators say this was not random. Patrick knew Williams, who was working as a chef after being honorably discharged from the Marines. Lieutenant Mike Shaw says, quote, "This was excellent police work by our detectives. They were able to develop a suspect and get him off our streets. We will continue to vigorously investigate these crimes on our freeways and seek prosecution to the fullest extent of the law." Now, there are 300 MDOT cameras
In Kansas City, Kansas, where a man was shot and killed by police tonight. It happened around 6 this evening in the area of 52nd and Georgia. KMBC 9's Peyton Headley is live near the scene. And Peyton, this began with officers responding to an overdose call, right?
Right, and that overdose call was actually a little less than a mile from where we're at right now. Police responded and they say they found a man and a woman unresponsive in the house. EMS provided medical care, and while the officers were there, they say they saw another person leaving the house on a bike. When police attempted to stop that person where we're standing now, there was some form of exchange. They didn't really give any details on what exactly happened. They will say that the suspect was armed. Shots were fired by officers, and there were life-saving measures performed on the suspect, but he was declared dead on the scene. Now, right now, we know both of those overdoses, the man and the woman in the house, are in stable condition in a local hospital. Police also say that no officers were injured, but Kansas City, Missouri police will be continuing to investigate this officer-involved shooting. Live in KCK tonight in Westport.
This happened just before 3 o'clock this morning. KMBC 9's Rob Hughes is live at the scene to walk us through what happened. Rob.
Hey, Cody and Dana, good morning to you. You can see still a very active scene. Police tape up, multiple investigators here on the scene trying to figure out exactly what led up to this. It was just before 3 a.m. when officers were called to the scene. And we spoke with officers. They don't know who called 911, but they arrived and they did find a woman who had been shot to death. They don't know what led up to the shooting, but they have a lot of work to do. We know that they're going to be reviewing surveillance footage of the area. They're also going to canvass the area and see if they can try and get more information to find out what led up to this person's death. But we did speak with officers who tell us, unfortunately, this is the 15th homicide so far of the year here in Kansas City, Missouri.
We're at the beginning of February, and that's 15 families who are suffering. Not only their families, the community, their friends. So this isn't a good start to the year.
Has been charged with attempted murder for allegedly shooting another teen on an MTA bus last month. The incident happened near Metcalf and Story Avenues in the Soundview section of the Bronx. And because of his age, the suspect's name has not been made public. The victim was treated at the hospital and later released.
New information on a fatal fire in the Bronx. Police have arrested a teenager who they say is responsible for starting it. The 15-year-old has been charged with murder, assault, and arson. The incident happened on Evergreen Avenue in the Soundview section last week. A 27-year-old man was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other people were hurt. City inspectors say the first and second floors of the building had been illegally converted into 8 different rooms.
What is expected?
24-year-old jewelry store worker is recovering this morning after being shot during an attempted robbery in Brooklyn. Investigators released the surveillance video. Police say the suspect demanded merchandise, then fired his weapon, grazing the employee who's now in stable condition at NYU Langone Hospital, Brooklyn. It happened yesterday afternoon just before 2 o'clock at a shop on 5th Avenue near 49th Street and Sunset Park. The suspect left empty-handed. So far, no arrests.
A Patterson police officer now facing charges after shooting a man in the back.
The New Jersey Attorney General says the shooting violated the state's use of force policy. CBS 2's Kevin Rincon has more on the investigation and what the body cam video reveals.
Where's the gun?
Video from the early morning hours of June 11th show officers responding to calls of a large crowd causing a disturbance. During that call, they found a gun.
Everything's good?
Yeah, I got the weapon right here.
All right, good.
But seconds later, shots can be heard in the distance. Officer Jerry Moravec runs towards that sound. Not long after, a man in a white hoodie is seen running.
Oh my God!
Less than 15 seconds later, the officer shoots 28-year-old Khalif Cooper in the back.
Drop the gun! Why did you run from me?
I was scared. Cooper, as he lay there handcuffed waiting for an ambulance, can be heard saying repeatedly he wasn't armed. According to the body camera footage, the officer in those brief moments saw things differently.
I saw him with the handgun. You didn't see him with a gun here?
After months of investigating, State Attorney General Matt Plotkin this week charged Officer Moravec with second-degree aggravated assault and second-degree official misconduct. Plotkin says the shot left Cooper unable to walk. That night, there was a gun found near where Cooper was seen running, but Plotkin says it wasn't in his possession or within his reach. Investigators say there was no DNA or fingerprint evidence linking that gun to Cooper either. Patterson Mayor Andre Sage, in a short statement, says their preliminary review found the officer was following guidelines as the officer chased the man he thought was armed. Morvik's attorney says the officer believed his life was at risk and made a split-second decision. If convicted, Morvik could face up to 10 years in prison on each count.
Stabbing in New Jersey. Authorities say a woman was stabbed to death on Murphy Place in West New York around 6 o'clock this morning. New Jersey reporter Tony Yates is live at the scene there with the developing details. Tony?
This is a duplex at 4914 Murphy Place, which is right off Bergen Line Avenue. You see it there behind me. And it looks like investigators are coming in and out of the upstairs unit of this duplex. The Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, though, they're expected to release more information on this sometime this afternoon. But right now, they are not saying much because, as we can see out here with all of the detectives and police, this is still a very active investigation. Again, they say it happened at 6 o'clock this morning, that a woman was stabbed to death in one of the units. We have no names yet. It's not known if anyone is in custody or how the victim and perpetrator may be related or not. And that is all we know at this point. A stabbing death in one of the units at 4914 Murphy Place. Again, this is a dead-end street right off Bergen Line Avenue here in West New York.